You are listening to a pleasure podcast. For more from our Sex Podcast Collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Hi, and welcome back to the Horny Housewife Podcast, or welcome. I'm your host, Jordan, here to make Mondays a lot bit better and helping you inside the bedroom and outside. That non-sexual intimacy and that intimacy. So buckle in. We're going to start off with, I saw tinka-tunka. Okay, I need to find a new accent or like a new, I saw a TikTok. No, I'm stuck in that. I'm stuck in that dialect. I saw TikTok. No. How do you do Irish? Me boots are on backwards. I lost it. Me boots. Okay, I'll practice outside of this. I started with, I saw TikTok, and I'm stuck there. I don't even know what accent that is. If I sat for a little while, it would come to me. Oh, you saw TikTok. It's Italian. I'm a disgrace to my own people. Disgrace. So it was Meet the Freemans, of course. Love them. And it was the husband and wife. They do their most videos together. And it said, women don't want to hear. And then it showed a scenario. And the husband was doing something, washing dishes. It was literally like them reenacting me and Derek. Because like Derek washes the dishes in this house. Like, oh my God, over Thanksgiving, he was like, holy shit, I have not stopped. And I'm like, where's my dish bitch? He's like, I'm coming. And that actually really happened. He likes to call himself the dish bitch. I don't know if I like it or hate it. I'm cooking. I'm cooking from scratch. It's the least you could do. And I saw the woman go up to the husband. They're doing a skit, but boy, did it hit home. And for, I'm sure, like the tens of thousands of people who liked it and commented spark below. I need to become like them. Comment, Jordy's a baddie, down below. Help us all down below. She goes, hey, there's a sale for Black Friday. And what color do you like? I'm going to buy these. And he's like, I don't care, babe, you pick. Guys, listen, you all do this to some capacity. Maybe you do it a lot. Maybe you do it a little. Maybe you already know what I'm going to say and you're like, nope, I know what you're going to say, so I don't do that. Or maybe you're just like reeking of masculinity and you had an amazing model, so you don't do it. But a lot of men do this. So I'm not slithering, pointing you out. There's giant majority does this in some capacity. I don't care, baby, you pick. And they think by not care, you pick. Where do you want to go eat for date night? I don't care, babe. What do you want to go eat? The indecisiveness of it all is wildly unattractive. Wildly. It's passive. And it's giving beta. And I went, before you hate me, A, I'm trying to help you get laid. So it's like, if you just giving a preference answer helps you like connect and possibly turn her on even, like, wouldn't you just get on board? Now you could be thinking, wait a second, I'm trying to let her win. I'm saying your opinion matters more than mine, and I'm just going to go with the flow of what you want. We see, we understand. But again, it is what it is, and I'm trying to help you. You may not like it. You may be confused by it, but I don't make the rules, okay? I'm the messenger here. And as a woman, I'm telling you, it is sexy when you as a man are intentful and decisive. And there are women who will respond to a man being stern, firm, yet gentle. Like that exists. This like, here's what I intend on doing. This is where we're going to go. This is what time. Hot. But let's just go back and maybe it's just like leadership. This isn't like picking something that you're asking. We'll circle back there. But say it's just intentions being made to the family. I know there are some women, and it's usually the women that are like looking for 50-50 or like maybe just like super into the modern feminist movement, or, you know, was that like dangerous to flirt with that line? Okay. That are like, you're not going to tell me what's going on. As women or wives, no shit, our opinion matters. Our opinion matters. It should be valued and taken into consideration always. I'm not even one of the wives that's like, he'll make that call as head of household. Like, yeah, but like I'm the next. Like I can cock that thing. You know what I'm saying? So the man is the head, the woman is the neck. My big fat Greek wedding quote. So it's sexy. Be sexy. You want to be sexier. You want to be more appealing, don't you? So if you aren't tapping in to that, ooh, I just found an area where I can show up better for her, that's one of them. So next time there's date night or she just asks a simple which outfit, be careful with the outfits, be careful with the... I already know what some of the men are thinking. I've told her that I liked those pants and she's been like, no, how could you like those pants? Really? Those pants over this? I understand. We can have a BF, a bitch fit, white chicks, quote. It happens. We're women. I'm just a girl. But you're going to get a lot further because the other one, the constant, I don't care, the constant, you pick whatever, this apathetic, that's the word the Freemans used, this energy of apathy, of like indifference, neutral, don't care. We take it sometimes, especially when it's like a true bid for connection, as rejection, as like you don't care, like you don't give a rat's ass. And maybe that's true. Maybe you don't give a fuck what color it is. But again, I am helping you be in sync. I'm helping you come together. I'm helping you scratch each other's back. I'm going to be talking to the women at some point in this episode, in every episode, I'm sure, to be like, and this is how we're going to speak the man's language so that you can both be understood. If you have a better understanding of your spouse's perspective and how they operate, it's going to go more smoothly. And if you're the big fucking idiot who doesn't take it into consideration after I've given you the knowledge, then that's on you. So, thank you. That's what I wanted to share with everybody. I believe in you. Should we do my what's drying me up and what's rocking my world? Because I have them. Rocking my world? Alex Earl's stepdad. Was that inappropriate? No. I'm not lusting him at all whatsoever. I only lust my man. Alex Earl's stepdad makes me believe in karma. Just, if you haven't noticed, if you don't know the lore of this, I will go so fast. If you don't know, she's like Gen Z. She's like really famous, was on Dancing with the Stars, if maybe that was a show you liked. And if you don't know the lore, her stepmom, Ashley Dupree, was pretty well known as a high-end escort in her early 20s. She ended up marrying Alex Earl's father. And how that relationship came about was through an affair. She was a mistress. So Alex and her sister hated this woman. And now, present day, they're like one giant Brady Bunch where like they vacation together. They do they're like enmeshed, and everyone is great and kosher and seems to actually have love for everyone involved. Like, it's been decades or whatever, maybe a decade-ish, a decade plus a few, but it seems like they've just come full circle. And the part that I find the most chef's kiss is, imagine how Alex Earl's mother felt, right? Like, she got replaced and betrayed and done dirty, and this young, hot thing is walking in and becoming the wife, and she's like, probably fuck him. I don't know. I wasn't there. But sometimes, lately I've been really questioning karma. Like, Is it a scare tactic? Is this real? I see people that do so good with such purity and character and intent. And then like they're really old and like, when are they going to get their karma? Like it still seems like they're getting the short stick, but I'm not there. That's where it's like, but Jordan, you don't know the joy and freedom and what they are having an experience. Maybe if I were to ask them, they'd be like, oh my, sweet lady, you got it all wrong. But I see visible karma because her new man is fine as hell and finer, and I'm hoping richer, probably not, but rich still, than the one that cheated on her. And like they all get to be happy-go-lucky and she gets to bring her fine, age-appropriate husband around all the time, and the mistress can be like, wow, her man's hotter than mine. So I flipped off the camera if you're not watching on YouTube. Hey, if you don't watch the show, you can do that. Her voice is going. I kid you not. There is a child in my home. We're coming off of, far away, no one can hear me. We're coming off of Thanksgiving break. So I needed today. I needed to go work out. I feel like I'm in a rut. I needed to go work out. And he's homesick. And I'm not going to say I always get it last, but sometimes I get it last. But let's speak some positive things. Okay, now what's drying you up, Jordan? Since we're on a negative note. Men on social media. Wait, we found you like that. How dare you? I'm listening to your butt. No, I'm talking about men. None of y'all do this. Y'all are way too cool for this. There's no one listening that does this, okay? And if you are, like, let's reevaluate. Tell me why. If you're making money, like, maybe. But even then, it's just drying me up. I'm just being honest, okay? Men that like set up their tripods and make videos. Like I know people, like there are people in IRL, IRL that are like setting up their phone and backing up and turning the corner to like demonstrate how they walked in the room to do their day in the life of. Can we save that for the girls? It feels so feminine. I know I'm being a cunt. I'll stop. It was for the segment. Are we ready for listener questions? Okay, pop quiz time. What's it called? The time in between a woman climaxing and a man climaxing. The orgasm gap. And what we want to do is we want to close it. I know there's so much talk about men lasting longer. I feel like a lot of men, maybe it's not spoken about because there's shame, want to last longer. I would think the majority of men would prefer to go a little bit longer in the bedroom, and that is where Pop Star Delay Spray comes in. Highest, strongest concentration of lidocaine on the market. It makes it a superior product. And I know what you're thinking, is this going to transfer? Like, is it going to numb her out? No, that's not what it's intended to do. Spray it on, you let it dry down. It's there to do its job in its place that it dried down on. It's going to do its job. You're going to win and she's going to win because you're winning because she's going to get off now. We're closing that gap. We're trying to give her more time to get there. And we know you're not a selfless lover and you're going to look like a big stud. She's going to be like, I love that. Thank you so much, Rodney. I needed that. Finally, something to go brag about to my friends. Finally, I came. So, hey, maybe some delay spray is exactly what you need. Ladies, maybe you're like, I'm going to put some in a stocking. I am. Go to popstarlabs.com/horny housewife and you can save 20% on your order. Click the link in the episode notes below or go to popstarlabs.com. Use code horny housewife and that'll save you some coin, 20% to be exact. If you put that in his stocking, ladies, men, you better not get offended and take that hint like a champ and then spray it on and go be a champ. popstarlabs.com/horny housewife. Men, you know what time it is? It's time to level up. And Blue Chew just dropped something crazy. a new product alert, new product alert, new product alert. I'm talking next level championship belt gold plated energy Blue Chew Gold. Blue Chew Gold. It's the newest innovation for the #1 chewable ED brand. This is not your grandpa's little blue pill. This is 4-in-1 beast that's setting the gold standard for performance. We're talking 2 ingredients for blood flow to keep that rocket pumping, mixed with, here we go with these words, apomorphine and oxytocin to turn up the arousal and connection in your brain and body. I see what they're saying with 4-in-1 beast. Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue and works in as little as 15 minutes. That means you can get it on quicker and stay in the game longer. Check. Elevation without hesitation. This is peak passion and peak performance in a single tablet. And right now, Blue Chew's got a special deal for my listeners. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with code HOUSEWIFE. That's promo code HOUSEWIFE. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. Question number 1. I've been listening to THH for a few years now, and I want to say thanks for helping my mindset and communication as a higher drive partner. My wife and I have been married for 18 years with 3 kids, and our relationship and marriage is very solid. Our sex life's great, even though I tend to hope for more frequency and spiciness as we communicate about sex. We find the balance that works for both of us. Here's the problem. At certain times when I know we won't be together for a weekend, or we'll be at family houses out of town for holiday props, I get bummed out that we won't be able to have that physical intimacy. I tend to get my hopes up that we will be able to find the time to connect, make love, fuck, or at least have business sex, as sometimes we call it, before these multi-day or week-long periods when it's off the table. Sometimes this works out, but oftentimes it does not. I feel like she prioritizes other things at these times, like logistics of the trip or going out to dinner with friends, all of which I support. But then she tells me how tired she is at bedtime when bedtime is approaching. I feel sad and disappointed. Then I carry that feeling through. There's not much chance to address it or connect romantically in other ways. I tend to stay up after she goes to sleep to take care of myself, but that is not the same as sex with my spouse, of course. What advice do you have? I'm not sure this pattern's going to change, so wondering if I maybe need a different, better mindset to deal with it. Thanks. Being the higher drive spouse in my own relationship, I know what it feels like because, and we've said this many times, I've said it, guests have said it, that I guess it's true. I was going to say it feels like it's certainly kind of true. Don't hate me, lower spouse. That they hold the keys to the sex life. It seems like they got all the freaking power. It's on their terms, essentially. But I do have an actual solution that you could try, some advice to give you. I can also validate the frustration of feeling like, well, it's going to be all about my attitude, I guess, because I don't see this dynamic really shifting because this is how she is. This is how you are. I'm sure you've gone to her to explain the importance. I mean, if you haven't shared with her that for you, that is like intimacy and closeness, and found out what turns her on. It sounds like you said, you have a solid relationship. The sex is good. So it sounds like you know what to do to be romantic. I understand that bummed out, sad feeling, and it's like really hard, especially when it's repetitive and you know how this cycle goes of being like less and less inspired to push through or try to change the circumstances because it just feels like almost inauthentic on the other person's like end. You're like, feel like you're begging or like trying to like come and get it in hopes, fingers crossed, that they like will begin to get aroused, etc. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So frustrating, right? And I know you might not want to hear this, but the power of perspective is everything. I know there's reality, right? But your perspective can really like shape reality, right? People can be brainwashed. I mean, look at Stockholm Syndrome. There are people that trust and adore their own captors. Your brain is so powerful. Placebo effect is real, okay? You are capable of switching up, which I need to do this like right now in my life. And sometimes I'm so good at it, and sometimes I really struggle. And when I'm really doing good at it, I'm like, I think I get this delusion, like I'll never struggle with it again. But sadly, I do sometimes. It's easy to go back into autopilot, but changing that inner dialogue, that narrative that has the longing and the want and the, am I not good enough? Like, am I not worthy? Or maybe it's nothing to do with like worthy and good enough. Maybe it's for you just like an unmet expectation. It's just disappointment, longing, wanting, desire, lust, all those things. So coming together and having a conversation, finding out how she views the sex life, what she would rate it, what she would want more of, less of, and if she says like pressure or like the pressure's ruining it for her, what I think you could do is, I had the libido fairy on. Listen to that episode if you haven't. You said you listened for a couple of years. Listen to it again. She talks about like different forms of desire and how she's responsive desire. A lot of women are. A lot of women like Susan Bratton are going to be the kind that's going to give you, and this is where she needs to be informed too. If she doesn't know how this works or know how she responds to being wanted, to someone desiring her, foreplay, like putting sex on the calendar. The libido fairy gave an example the other day on her Instagram. I saw a video of being like, we had sex on the calendar and I started dreading it because like, and look at her, she's someone who talks about this all day long. We get imposter syndrome when we talk about sex all the time. We do, because we go through our own shit and our own ruts and our own confusion because we're just people just doing the same thing as y'all. And we all, there's so many factors in life and blah, 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 blah. But she's like, we had it on the calendar. And I'm like, maybe this is a good idea. You have it on the calendar, but it's not with this big like, shit, let's go through the motions. That's not fun, right? It's like this erotic play date that would be scheduled of like intimacy and whatever that may look like. So your chances just went way up just because it's an intimacy time. So she needs to know that this is time that can be a massage that does not result in sex. Just go with me here, because these little sessions can build trust, and where she really begins to feel like you are her emotional safe space, that she feels like she can be vulnerable and open and honest about what she likes, about what she doesn't like, about the mood she's in, and about where she's at right now. But that doesn't mean there's nothing later, right? She may say, I'm not really in the mood right now. I'm really tired, but I'm open. And Susan Bratton was talking about I could be open later maybe for some intimacy. And it's a shame that I know some guys are going to roll their eyes and scoff at this, but I'm not against it. I think you have to look at the roles you play in your day-to-day in your marriage to see if this is a fit. I don't think it's a fit for everybody. I think there are some men that they're a certain way and their women show up a different way. So it's this isn't for everybody, obviously. But maybe for you, I'm just suggesting based on your question, if having a dialogue of that, of having some of the business sex, why am I about to whisper? It's because I know someone's in my house. Business sex, maintenance sex can be on the calendar, but it's really not sex on the calendar. It's really an erotic play date. Just say that. Just say intimacy with Bob, okay, whatever. And say, this does not mean P and V necessarily. This is time that I want to be physically affectionate with you, but I want to hear you out on if you're not feeling well, it doesn't have to be just what I expect and want it to be. So it's essentially letting her know her voice matters, but then you have that time to shine. If you just want to eat her out on forever. And she's wow, just some really selfless loving. I feel like she could blossom under that. Now, if you were just rejected, scoffed, she's prioritizing every other thing before you, but that's not what I heard in that question. So I think just some good dialogue, not you white knuckling it, not you being like, just be positive. You're going to build resentment because you haven't shared how you really feel, or you're going to feel like you haven't said what you really needed to say. And I think that that's worth doing. And it sounds like your marriage is strong enough to be able to have that conversation and hopefully pull from her a little bit and gauge how she views it. And does she know how much it weighs on you and bums you out and makes you feel rejected? Share that. And then try to gain better understanding of like, how could I show up in a way that leads us to be having more physical intimacy? It's not about just like wanting to bust a nut. This isn't about me just like, I need to get off. This is like really wanting intimacy with my wife. And I've come to understand that that means we should be experiencing intimacy outside of the bedroom, connection in all kinds of ways. So I'm coming to you, trying to see if we could figure out what that looks like. So try that, okay? Let me know how it goes. Y'all know sex is a skill, so it can be mastered. It can be improved. And I know that's a good reason why you're listening to this podcast. So what's my favorite resource altogether now? Beducated. If you don't know, Beducated is an online course platform. They have over 150 courses, expert taught, 12 out of 10 people, 12 out of 10, and it's Christmas. So hop on this great discount. Use code Jordan, Jordyn, and get 50% off the yearly pass. The link is in the episode notes. I made it really, really easy. And don't forget code Jordan, Jordyn, so they know I sent you. This platform, there's courses like cunnilingus, vulva massage, breast massage, BDSM, erotic spanking, like everything you could freaking think of. And then they have like deepening intimacies, experiments for couples, anything you could think of, from vanilla to extremely spicy and everything in between, solo, partnered, whatever you can think of, they've got it. And it's so well done. Like, that's what I love about it. It's not boring. It's arousing, actually. Great at-home date night idea. Shit, I always recommend dates where like, no, don't do anything where you watch something. We need to communicate. Trust me, you'll be watching and you'll be communicating. I assure you, in probably the ways you want to, men. Okay. No, but you're going to gain better understanding. You're going to gain technique, the skills, the things you've been wanting to learn, the things you've been wanting someone to tell you. Move your hand here, touch it like that. Try this technique. No, right here. Anatomy, everything. You don't got to be embarrassed. They're going to tell you and show you. It's everything. It's everything. I love it. It's changed my life. It's changed how I show up to this podcast. It's changed my relationship. Just give it a whirl. Let me know how it goes. Link in the episode notes, Beducated, BEDUCATED.com. And don't forget to use code Jordan for 50% off the yearly pass. Question number 2. My wife and I have been married for 10 years now. We got married about a year after college. We were raised in a religious home, so we waited until marriage to have sex. We never seemed to find our sexual stride early in our marriage. Went through some difficult seasons, got the desire to have kids, and got pregnant very easily. Flash forward 3 years now, and we have 2 kids and barely have time or energy to have sex. In 10 years of marriage, it feels like we've been virtually sexless for the majority of that time. We both say it's a priority, but we haven't been willing to dig in and learn why we haven't figured this out yet. Emotionally, relationally, we're very committed to each other, love each other deeply, but just feel like we can't connect sexually. I try to put her pleasure first, have read all the books, listened to podcasts, yours included, but feel like it never comes together, no pun intended. She rarely seems to be able to get into the headspace for sex, is grossed out by the idea of receiving oral, and seems to lack patience for her own arousal sometimes. How can we take steps towards getting on the same page and connecting sexually? Now, you're going to hate this answer, but she is a giant piece of this, and we're not going to get her to do anything. We can't, because we can't. Believe me, if I knew how to do that, I would be very, very rich. I don't know how to do that. I don't think you can do that. So she's going to have to want it on her own. So where this is going to start is that conversation. Circling back to the conversation where you said that this is a priority to this. We say that it's a priority. Call out where you have not been willing to dig in and learn why you haven't figured this out yet. Sex therapy could be great for a couple like y'all because it's very specific to that topic. And usually there's, something that comes before the actual physical act, but we're addressing like sex in sex therapy, but it starts with conversations outside of sex. But it seems like if the relationship, like you're committed emotionally, all these things, that maybe that could be beneficial. I think I'd bet a lot of money that there's a shame layer, a shame factor for both of you, if not more than in her than you or one or the other. Possibly. Maybe you're like, no, I feel like I've worked through that. But with her, with what you're noticing, grossed out by the idea of receiving oral sex. So I think there's some unworthiness, some shame, ignorance of sorts. Like maybe she doesn't know what she's missing out, but just like the concept, the idea of it. I wonder why. I wonder, but what's been instilled in her for a long time that's gross, she's inexperienced. Maybe it's not being gross, but sinful, not something you should desire, that sex is for procreating, for making babies only and not for pleasure and connecting and a gift from your creator to you. Okay, listen in, wifeys. The clit, solely for pleasure, okay? It does nothing else. Why is it on our body? Mr. and Mrs. Religious people, why is it on our body? God gave us a clit for a reason. And guess what its reason is for? It has nothing to do with procreation. Nada. It's for pleasure, okay? You are worthy of receiving pleasure. Am I in the twilight zone? Did everything just go? Did anybody else notice that? What does that mean? So, patience for your own arousal. I mean, I can relate to that too. And I'm only saying that for comfort, right? Because as a person, the self-proclaimed horny housewife, I've felt so not horny before. I have felt all the other feelings except horny before, okay? So I know what it feels like. I know the feeling of feeling pressured, of feeling like I need to perform a certain way, like things I do to myself in my own head. Feeling like there's not a good dialogue for communication. I don't feel like I have an emotional safe space. I don't feel seen. So therefore, I don't have the space to be vulnerable. This is like a narrative in my head. So if a woman doesn't feel emotionally safe, if she doesn't feel like you can be her vomit bucket, if she feels like you can't handle that, then what happens? What happens? Fortunately, I think there's women who do the work and process and do the work. And so they're not able, they'll combat that shriveling up, that going inside, that making themselves smaller. There's some women who are like, I am not going to make myself smaller. But if they have that dynamic in their relationship where they literally can't share with the other person how they're feeling, what's going on, and get solution oriented about it, good luck, Chuck. Or there's going to be some resentment a-brewing. And her lack of patience for her own arousal and the grossed out by the idea of being eaten out, I think is just a lack of knowledge as well. Just ignorance to the topic late in the game. You both waited for marriage. Late to the game in a sense. It is what it is. Oh, well, there's people that saved themselves for marriage that are super freaks, okay? So that has nothing to do with what you can or can't be, right? But you have to seek knowledge if you want it. Beducated could be good, but I could also see a side growing up religious where maybe she's resistant to that. Maybe that's a little too open for her off the get-go. I often recommend Beducated for people wanting to explore and get in tune with their bodies. If I could hand pick some courses for her, they would be those like solo deepening intimacy, pleasure mapping, understanding her body. I think there's like a vulva massage for you to perform on yourself, like something like that. But if she's completely removed from her body, if she's not in tune with her body, if that's like separate because of how she was brought up, because of what's instilled for her, because she grew up maybe being like, masturbation is a sin, you're not supposed to acknowledge that that felt good or that you have those thoughts when they're totally normal. Totally normal. Every single person on the planet has gone through that and feels like that. So, like, if there was ever a normal, we're like, what's normal? That's normal. That is normal. That is not abnormal in any way. If anything, it's abnormal to suppress and be told you are a sinner and gonna go to hell for it. That's some dysfunctional, fucked up shit. Okay? So with that being instilled at a young age, there would be shame now associated with pleasure. So don't tell me her first inkling of arousal happened at 20 whatever when she got married. She felt that before and she shut it down and she suppressed it. Now, I'm not saying every horny teenager go act on it. Think teenagers don't listen to this podcast. Bless. That's not what I mean by that. I'm just saying the feelings that arise and the desires, whether you act on it or not, are completely normal. And I feel like there is an ethical, safe way to pleasure yourself, right? You can do that without porn. You can do that. So it's like the safest thing ever to use your imagination and do that. And then there's like, oh, the sinful thought. Those were sinful thoughts. It's like, shut the fuck up. And I can see benefits of not going out and like just having pointless casual sex. I do. I like view that now as like this energetic transaction and like protect your energy. Like I'm not the same girl that if I was single right now, which I'm not, I wouldn't be the 22-year-old version of me. I would not. You can be an ethical whore even. Okay. Moving onward. This is going to be a conversation. I know that you're the one seeking the knowledge. So I feel like, try to come from a place of understanding of like, when you go to therapy, when someone's been in therapy in the relationship and they finally get the other person to go, you're like, I am like 7 years ahead. You don't want to like weaponize your knowledge, and you don't want her to feel like less than or, add shame and be like, you're such a fucking idiot. But she's going to have to want to seek knowledge. And it's hard because you're her husband. So it's hard when someone with a penis is coming up to you saying, you need to connect your vagina. You know what I mean? Because you don't have one. So I think going to her and saying, we say this is a priority, but I don't feel like our actions are aligning with that. So like, what do you suggest? What do you think? Where could we start off slow? And if she's just like, she's probably like not going to know. She seems very like out of tune with that. And that's where when she may stumble or struggle to find a suggestion or solution, maybe she feels bad because she doesn't know what to do. And then that like adds more shame and there's some sort of stress cycle where it's just like inundating her because she doesn't know what to do. And it's just making everything worse, quite frankly. Coming in and being like this shoulder to cry on, be like, hey, I know we may not know the answer or the next thing to do. Maybe we go talk to someone. That doesn't mean we're broken. That doesn't mean like, oh, things are so bad, we're going to a sex therapist. Find one in line with your values. If you have certain values, find a sex therapist that falls under the category. You know what I'm saying, okay? If you're a raging liberal or very conservative, you wouldn't go to the opposite kind of sex therapist. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to respect anything they have to say. That sounds I can respect other people's opinion. If it's your therapist, just trust me. You want to feel like you hold some of the same values, okay? You will receive that message more open-minded. It is what it is. I don't make the rules. Okay. I wish you the best of luck. I know that's not like this, oh, I can go do this tonight and everything's going to be better. It's going to be a journey, and letting her know that you're there for her and that she's so worthy of pleasure. Let her know that clit fact. Just say, listen to podcast. You know that women's clits are purely on their body for pleasure? Like, why'd God make that, baby girl? Let me lick it. But maybe you wake her up eating her out. Like, ask if she's opposed to it. Be like, would you ever feel like violated if I ever like caressed you or touched you like gently and lovingly without like, hey, can I do this? See what she says to make sure like she wouldn't be like, how dare you lick it? You know? Can't even imagine, can't relate. But maybe you wake her up with a little Munchbox Supreme and change her mind. Change her mind. Go, wow, I didn't know what I was missing. So she's grossed out by the idea. God forbid, don't tell me it's never happened. Because if you don't get down there tonight, the second stretcher, like wake her up gently. Like if anything, like kind of caress kisses on her neck. And if she's like, babe, stop. She's like, you relax. I need nothing from you right now. I need nothing from you right now. And love on that woman by going down on her. And when you see her, because you've obviously seen her not displaying patience for her own arousal, because there's a reason you said that. When you notice that, remind her there's no pressure, that you want to slow down. You want to take your time. Sometimes when Derek is like, let me just take my time, that helps me. Because sometimes I'll get in my head and feel pressured that I need to like show up this way or that way, or like get to a certain point so that I can be, you know? And when he'll be like, let's just slow down. I'm like, okay, offload, mental load, you know? Got to get in that headspace. Take some work. It takes some work, and it starts outside of the bedroom, I assure you. Okay, moving onward. We're doing a lot of mental gymnastics today. Question 3, how do you get over that mental hump when you're curious but not that curious, both partnered and solo? Should I push myself to try it alone? What are the top tips for first-time analers? Now you tell me, you had us all confused. What are the top tips for first-time analers? The analers over here and the analers over there. Analers. Never heard that term. Is that a word? Besides, use lube and chill out. Side note, I've never orgasmed before, so maybe anal is the key to my O. And this is a female that wrote in. We're like, you're gay, sweetie. No, I've never orgasmed before, so maybe anal is the key to my O. I'm so intrigued. So you have never, this was not a social media DM. This was asked anonymously through my website. So I would love some context. So if you're listening, sweet listener, I need to know, have you ever came like clitoral stimulation? Or are you just thinking like P and V hasn't equated an O, so you've never? Because if you have solo or from like out external stimulation, then you have. Yes, they're different, but I will tell you from experience, say I've been on the struggle bus, and this will have nothing to do with what's going on in the bedroom or my husband. This will have everything to do with like me, whether it's like a hormonal slump I'm in, headspace, my body's just not caught up, whatever it may be. The anal way is always the thing that will get me there the quickest. You're like, ew, what? I just went to craft night the other night and got shamed. If you're listening, you know who you are, for discussing this and recommending it. But truly, there are so many women who love it that are ashamed to say it because of that shit. Because they're like, oh, no. we're breaking stigmas here about taboo, okay? I'm not telling you to go be an anal whore, okay? I'm not saying go pass your gaping butthole around, okay? I'm saying with your husband. Now, there are people that are married to men that are very well endowed. I am not recommending it to you because that sounds like you get to decide that, okay? Your body, your choice. So if you're like, that's not going to go there because it's just too big. Okay, but all the average Joes out there, like there's just like, this is where you win. You're a winner. Because it may be in the cards for you and it can actually be something really awesome for her. There are some men who could care less, or at least that's what they tell you, ladies, because you're so disinterested in no, never. No, never. Okay, awesome. That's your cool. I don't think less of you. I don't think better of you. Like, I don't care. But if someone's coming to me asking how, I've got tips because you can enjoy it and it be something that's like very few and far in between, okay? And for anybody wondering, like, yeah, I know if you've ever consumed unit porn, look how I'm like censoring knowing that someone's in the house, that they're gaping, you know what? I've never seen one of those in real life, but it is alarming and scary, but I think it's because they might be a porn star and might be doing like crazy things to that thing that have like truly ruined it now. So it doesn't have to be like that. It's not exactly how we say that is not a good representation or teacher of sex, porn. Don't let it be. And not with the analers, okay? You talk to a true analer, they're going to go, yeah. Lube, like I said, vital. So I'm going to mention again. And beyond chill out, let's define chill out as box breath work. Now, some women are thinking, if I have to do box breath work and be biting to do it, like that doesn't sound delightful or pleasurable. Understood. I agree. I was the person who was like, tried it once, never again. I said that for years and years and years and years and years. It actually wasn't until I was married that I discovered the pleasurable side of it. Truly, he's the only person that's had that part of me. I attempted elsewhere and I was like, I will never try that again. You know, it's try, not even really trying. It's the accidental slip and you're like, thou shalt never. Because it's extraordinarily painful. And you're like, this isn't a match. There is a way where it is not extraordinarily painful. It can be slightly overwhelming and it's actually arousing and very pleasurable and not painful. There are some people that like pain, not really me. I mean, I think our pain receptors, or like what we feel as pain, our threshold, like we have a higher threshold for pain, but like true blue, oh my God, that hurts really bad. That's not me. And I can do that successfully without a lot of pain and it be the quickest way to have an orgasm like no other. And like I've said, but this is for maybe you haven't heard it, this is beyond lube and chill out. It's all about the position, in my opinion. There will be women who will say, no, the easiest, most painless way is on top. I disagree. I think it is standard missionary, where girl on her back laying down. Because you can, like with my legs straight down or like this, like I'm about to give birth kind of. And you're able to, a liberator, like a pillow, like a wedged pillow under you would be fantastic because you'd be able to really press, like friction it up for the clit, rubbing on his abdomen, upper pubic bone, whatever. So that is stimulated while he's enduring. And then it doesn't need to be this, it can be such slight movement, but it's so sensitive for both parties. So you will get that climax, that result quicker than you would. Not necessarily, but for some people, like it doesn't have to be this like tearing it up. It can be a 1-inch movement, okay? Where actually it's just in there like a plug and you're just stimulating the front. That could be a great recommendation. I would recommend a small plug, the smallest size you could get. Put it in your you-know-what, brown starfish, and then front externally stimulate your clit. I think you're gonna have one. And I really want to challenge you to use your hand. Like or anything but a vibe, like even air suction, go for it. But I want you to achieve an orgasm without a vibe, because if we start off that way, you're going to be vibed out, okay? Then 5 years, it'll be broken. There'll be no more nerve endings in there. That's what I would want you. I was like your road to orgasm coach. I would say we're gonna keep the vibe to the side. Work with purely friction and fullness. Of course you need to go out this solo. Of course. That's going to be the way to understanding your body, knowing what you like. Take your time. There's no pressure. There's no one there. Like, it is all you. Be intentional with that time that you set aside to pleasure map yourself. Go everywhere. Vagina last. Okay? I have faith in you. I wish I could have some follow-up questions and we focused on the never orgasm before, but we covered that in top tips for the first time analers. Uber lube, okay, code housewife. Box breath work, which you did chill out, any anxiety. Missionary position, most important next to Uber lube, okay, is the missionary position with front friction going the entire time. Like, you're basically getting yourself off underneath him by rubbing yourself. So you're masturbating on him essentially while he's entered you, analer style. Okay? Let me know how it goes. Last but not least, I'm just wondering what podcast you enjoy listening to and find you relate to. Oh, so you're trying to get me to give you more shows so you can abandon me? How dare you? No, don't worry. I don't really listen to many relationship podcasts at all. I've tried listening to some other sex and relationship podcasts, but they're all a bit too wishy-washy and soft. They give advice based around not having sex if you don't feel like it. Where I think actually you do have to suck your husband's dick regularly to have a healthy marriage. Come on over to the horny housewife. And that really shouldn't be as controversial as it is. Can I get an amen? I get it. That is the I don't want to say modern feminism movement, but I just did. I understand where all that's coming from, and I'm not directly disagreeing. I don't think women should be doing something that they're not consenting to. I get it. I get it. But have a voice then. Quit being completely mute. Say something. Instead of just a silent denial and then expecting him to be a mind reader, tell him why you don't want to fuck him then. Please. And you know what? You do. If you're not having physical intimacy in your relationship, there's one person in there, bet your bottom dollar that does have a higher drive. There's one that has maybe a smidge of a higher drive, maybe a way bigger higher drive. And when one person does feel truly neglected and it's over and over and they feel rejected, or they'll let the lower drive spouse is really holding the key to the sex life and it's completely on their terms. If you don't get that shit talked about, communicated about, some sort of solution oriented of how you can meet in the middle and compromise. What are their needs? Are their needs my needs? That can be toxic too. That's controversial too. But you just don't have sex if you don't want it. Okay, well, don't be surprised when he's fucking someone at work. Okay? I know that doesn't sound or feel good. That should not be justification to betray or have an affair. No, I didn't say it should be justification. I didn't say his actions were excused. I didn't say him going and sleeping with someone else was the right thing to do. It was morally bankrupt. It was wrong. It was deceptive. It was a piece of shitty, no doubt. But I'm definitely not confused on how you got there. I'm definitely not surprised. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. What did you ask again? What podcast I listen to? The podcast that I listen, Bitch Bible. I love Jackie Schimmel. Like, I literally feel like simpatico. Like, when I listen to her, like, I could see how she's not everybody's people. Like, it's a girl show. It's a girly show. Okay. So, but I do feel like she's my sister from another mister. Like, I understand her and I have a lot of things in common with her and I just love it. Okay. And a lot of things not in common with her, but her sense of humor, the way she speaks, like that she's speaking my language. Like, I just feel like she'll be my best friends in her life. But what else? I like the Him and Her show. I like Lauren and Michael Bosstick. Sometimes do I have different opinions than they do on certain topics? Yes. But I, for the most part, like really love the guests they have on. I really love the content. It's motivating. It's inspiring. It's leveling up when it comes to business, health, as an individual, all of it. So, but when it comes to relationships and marriage, like, I'm just going to say it. I think I have an incredibly underrated podcast. And I think that Bitch Bible always says that too. But I do. Like, truly, you're missing out. I just don't feel like there's another show like this. Now, I'm a part of Pleasure Podcast Network. So Shameless Sex is a part of that network, Strictly Anonymous. There are shows that are also talking about sex. So I'm not ragging on them by any means. I just think while we all have the same niche, we're all so very different in our views and stances and preferences and belief systems even. And it doesn't mean one's wrong or right by any means. I just know we find our tribes, right? You find your people. So I've shown you my truth and where I stand, and I definitely think from the beginning of this show to now, there's been an evolution. You've seen me, I was going to say get older, but ew, you've seen me age backwards like Benjamin Butt. No, you have seen me in my own relationship evolve and grow. And even though I don't come and bear all my burdens and feelings and trials and tribulations, it's only to protect what matters so much to me. It's why your questions are anonymous. It's because we can relate to each other, feel understood, feel seen, and know that being in a long-term relationship, like, there's battles and you want to be a team. You know, you don't want to be an enemy. You want to have an ally and you want to have an above mediocre marriage. You don't want a mediocre marriage. You want to enjoy your significant other. You want to have a sex life that, like, you feel good about, you know? And I know part of that is being emotionally mature and knowing that there's ebbs and flows. There would be if you were single, right? There would be hot sex time. There'd be passion. There'd be lows. There'd be lonely. There'd be disappointments. And that happens wherever you are, regardless of how interchangeable, how often the characters change and the storylines and the plot. So I think there's a stability that comes and like a familiarity that comes with being in a long-term relationship, which I guess could serve as a pro, as something that people that are single might be like, well, I don't feel stable, but I do think stability can be achieved, obviously, single or partnered. But if there are factors like people that have gotten divorced and they're single parenting, like, I don't think just everyone, it's all exactly the same. It's not. It's all relative. And one person's heart is going to look different than another person's heart. And sometimes people will discredit themselves and be like, oh, I can't complain. There's people starving. I can't complain. There's people getting beaten by their husbands. Like, yes, and is what my therapist always says. Like, yes, and I love when she says it. I told her, I was like, I quoted what you said the other day. I told my therapist said that she smiled, but literally thank God for Michaela. Thank God for her. People have been like, can I go to your therapist? I'm like, you don't live in Washington, sorry. But if you live in this state, you can. Okay. I love you long time. We're all doing it together. Okay. Just hold on for one more day. I just made that lyric up. Is that the lyric in that song? I don't know. But I see you. I love you. You got this. It's December 1st is the day I'm recording this, so a new episode came out today. But you're going to be hearing this next Monday, but it's still early December, so I want you to really revel in like, what do you want to experience this month? How do you want to get through the holidays? It's easy to get really overwhelmed. It's really easy to feel misunderstood, to feel ignored, feel lonely in a room, in a crowd full of people. It's easy. Holidays can be tricky, right? They can be so joyous and they can be so depressing. It can be very bittersweet. It can be a reminder of what once was that will never be. It can fuck you up. They can be a mind fuck. So be mindful for the people in your life, the people that you love, that may interpret the holidays and deal with them and process them and experience them differently than yourself, especially your spouse. Don't forget you're writing the memories for your children. Don't let that fuck you up to a burn. And just love one another, okay? Just love one another. All you need is love, love. And what does that look like? And what does that feel like? And what does that sound like? So if you want to write into The Horny Housewife, go to thehornyhousewifepodcast.com, click Ask Anonymously. The name and the email part of the form are not required, or just like make up a name. Go ham with it. Follow me on social media at THHPod or on TikTok at THH Podcast. You can watch me on YouTube at THH Pod, or you can watch this show on Spotify when you look up The Horny Housewife Podcast. If you're listening on Apple, whether you are or are not, it would be super easy. If you have an iPhone, you can do this, whether you listen there or not. Leave me 5 stars and leave me a written review. It helps me so much. And the number one thing that actually does the most good for me is you sharing the show with a friend. Tell your friends about the Horny Housewife Podcast. If they're married, they should be listening to it. I love you, and I'll see you next week.